grip. New fork seals, bushings in the forks, new fork oil, taper bearings in the steering head. Did that all over the winter in the garage. Little old me. Not real hard, but it, you know, I'm used to using the wrenches. So it was a millwright for 40 years and still in the industry. Just don't touch the tools anymore at work. So I was able to do it, save myself a little bit of money. I had taken it in a year ago in the winter to the dealer, asked them to do the forks. They called me and told me that the other things that they were doing, flushing their coolant and everything, and they said it was done, but that they didn't do the forks. And I said, oh, why? And they said, because they don't do it until the fork seals blow. And I was like, well, I don't know the bike, so I don't know if they have already blown. The thing could be empty, which ended up being the case. So I rode it all last year, thinking that everything was reasonably okay. And when I dumped the oil out, there was probably enough to fill an egg cup in both. So it was enough to keep them wet, that it didn't wear the aluminum sleeve of the bottom of the fork. But the bushings were in need of changing, so that happened, and we got everything done. So steering head bearings, the tapers, what a difference. Amazing difference going from the old same setup as in your bicycle when you were a kid, just the cheap pressed race ball bearing. Just when you take it apart, they just fall out. Like it just a Honda. Like, come on, like that was even in 2005. I had taper bearings in the steering head of my 900 Cowie back in the 80s. Like, I don't understand why Honda didn't step up and put those in anyway, but the handling is so much more precise. No fork brace, and I don't ever think I'll bother investing in one. I don't think that it's actually going to do any good. I've listened to the other guys, Chris Caliente, he's got one, and he's kind of iffy on whether it really does anything for him or not himself. So I don't think I'm ever going to need to put one on if these you know, bearings, if everything stays good with them. There's no wobble in the steering, you know, the infamous death rattle that you'll get if you let go of the handlebars. So there it is. There's nothing. Bad road to do it on. It's on a real tilt, but that's all I got to say about that, I guess. Is just that if anybody's ever thinking of doing it, especially if you know that they're getting worn and they're loose, and at least adjust them, because the old type, if you've got them, because I noticed you'd hit a sharp little bump, a little ripple in the road, and it would rattle up in there. Like you could feel the play, you could hear it. Now it's quiet. You go across the bump, you hear the shocks working, you hear the hissing of the fluid in the shocks, and you know everything is working the way it's supposed to, and it's all good. So we're gonna keep an eye on them and make sure they're lubed, you know, every couple of years, maybe pull them out and re-grease them and put them back. One thing to remember, if you're gonna do it, get the wrench. You gotta have that special spanner wrench socket for taking the nut off. I didn't have it, and I had to make one. I work in a machine shop, so that was no biggie, but you end up, number one, so buy both new nuts, and also the little tab block washer. Order a new one of those before, when you're planning on doing it. I use the all balls kit. Seems like that's what everybody else is using right now, and what the dealers are throwing onto the counter when you order them. So I think that's they're the best option going right now. So, oh, Caddy, an old Nova. Some blast from the past. SS too. Brother biker. Nice helmet, kid. Alright, if you look up ahead, that's Lake Erie in the distance. So the shore road, you can go this way. We'd have come around there if that little bridge hadn't have been out. That's where we'd have ended up. So I think we're doing pretty good. Guys got lots of toys, ATVs, motorcycles, new truck. So here's the lake. So straight across, a little bit of New York State, but Pennsylvania and Ohio, like 30 miles that way. Spin this other camera around so you can look. Give you the scenic route of the lake. So follow this right around, it'll take you right to the Niagara River and Niagara Falls, Niagara on the lake. It's all right there. Just little cottages all the way along. Oh, there's some big ones, some fancy ones too, but a lot of the little guys, the older, been here for 100 years, some of them. Camera angle is good. Tighten that up a bit. So this is a good evening ride along here. The wife and I usually come out, we'll go for dinner somewhere along here on the lake. Turkey Point or Port Dover, and then slide our way on around. Either direction out of Port Dover usually is the way we go. If we're just doing a quick run, it'll be this way towards, so we're headed northeast towards Dunnville, Ontario. Beyond that is St. Catharines, Port Colborne, Niagara Falls, Fort Erie, Ontario. Fort Erie, Ontario is across the border, a bridge from Buffalo, the Peace Bridge. So back to the bike. Went to the Toronto Bike Show, all of them. Was that the one I spoke to the Ultimate Seats? was talking to the owner's son-in-law, who is actually of the F4 windshield family. I recognized him from his 2 YouTube hits that he's got, and all his videos for the windshields. So they had demonstrators there that you could sit on. I sat and I talked to him for over an hour, trying the seat out most of the time, but what I came to find out was that because I knew him and I was pretty up and educated on what I was looking for, he offered me a deal, which ended up they honored it. All he did was sign the back of his business card and handed it to me, and he said, "Do you call that number just before you're going to go on your big ride?" He says, "Just so you got time to get it on and take it for a couple of rides and make sure everything's okay." He said, then you got 14 days to make up your mind, as long as it's not a custom seat. If it's just an off-the-rack generic Goldwing seat or Spider, whatever you got, their warranty is you don't like it and you can bring it back in 14 days. So I was on for that, but it's not going back. There's no way that this seat is ever coming off this bike other than for me to clean underneath it. So 9 and 10 hour rides. Our Bluetooth units went dead before we got to our destination. We had to plug them into the USB ports on the bike to charge them while we were driving, because we extended their life, and this seat for me, the rider, the old one was getting packed down and hard, and the covering was looking like it was almost brittle. Now I think it was from lack of care in its early years, because when I got the bike, I armor all it in the sun and let it get soaked right in and softened it up, but I think it was already too late for what was underneath it. So I did invest in the new seat, and I don't care about the warranty because it stands. So a couple of young guys got the big wave. Just remembered I had the trailer on. I heard it bouncing back there. So, seat's good. Asked the wife's opinion, but she's a very tiny lady, and I think you could put a 2x6 back there and she wouldn't really care, because she's not heavy enough to cause any pressure on her butt anyway, I think so. But the one thing that the ultimate seats do is the back. The pillion rider's seat, the back tilts the rider's seating position forward, not your butt but your back. It tilts you more vertical. Now you could probably ask any rider on an 1800 Goldwing who's been rolling along, and there's always that one pothole you get the death stare on and you nail it dead on, right? So tailbone rider complaint every time you hit a pothole. And the reason that was happening is because you're almost laid back. It was so far lean back, it was exposing your tailbone to the hardness of the seat, where when you sit up properly, you're on your cheeks and you're not exposing your tailbone to that hit. So we hit a couple on the big trip to New Hampshire, and she was quite pleased after that. She goes, "Oh, like it is true, what they said, it didn't bother her at all." And in the past, she would have been hurt. So that was a plus, that was a good. Back to the Bluetooth. The bike has Sena free wires, front and back, and we're running 30K on the helmets. Not sure about the multitasking settings on the 30K, and I'm hoping that there's an update that fixes it, but in regular Bluetooth intercom mode, the multitasking does not work. So you cannot hear the CB, the radio, the satellite radio. You can't hear any of that unless you go into mesh mode. As soon as you go into mesh mode public, and it all comes and everything works and it's fine. But that's part of the reason for the dead batteries on the headsets, was the mesh mode uses more power, so you don't have as much length of use without charging them up. So I think I need to educate myself a little better in their operation. I know the 20S's, which don't have mesh, all work under the Sena technology and do a good job. And Memphis Mike and Chris Caliente and all his troop, they all use the 20S, but he does have 30K. I think Chris's wife actually runs most of the time with a 30K. So I'm not sure whether it's just maybe me. So I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with it. I will say that you cannot use the bike intercom, this intercom here, leave it turned off, use the Bluetooth intercom, because at least on the older early generation 1800s, say 01 to 05, they get very, very bad side tone delay going through the intercom on the bike and then through the Bluetooth. It causes this slurring of your speech. You sound like a stroke victim because it just annoys you, and there's no way to turn it off. Now, if you talk to Sena about it, Sena says that there's a setting on the Goldwing that you would have to go to the dealer and have them hook up to the bike and turn it off. But I talked to Honda USA, because this is a US bike, and they said there's no such setting. So I think there's a little bit of BS going on, but it's fine. It works. It does what I want. We're not on an 11-hour ride every week, so it's not an issue, and I can work around it. As long as it's not pouring rain, I can charge my headset. I could run corded helmets in the trailer, and in case we ran into that situation, we could just switch helmets and carry on. That's an option as well. So I already have an older helmet that is corded for the Goldwing, so I could use that one, and I'd only have to buy another spare helmet for the wife and wire it. So these are all options that can make it acceptable to me, even with the expense of the Senas. But I believe they seem to be coming up with some pretty good updates when they do, that seem to fix a lot of the problems and make things a little easier to use. So I'm gonna say that we'll go with it. If it's not me and it's the Bluetooth itself that's the problem, on the multitasking, I'll say that, well, they'll probably come up with an update. Especially if this gets circulated enough that they know everybody knows about it. Maybe they'll do something about it. So, and that would probably give me a couple more hours of battery life on the headsets, and it wouldn't be an issue. I don't think we would ride more than 11 or 12 hours in a day. I don't think that we could. You know, we're healthy enough, and endurance wise we could handle it, but I don't believe in driving tired. I don't think it's a good idea. I've known some fellas in the past with motorcycle accidents that I had one guy grab me, and I bought his old wrecked bike as a parts bike one time when I was a young man, and he grabbed me by the shoulder and he said, never ride tired. He'd ridden tired. He got off work and afternoon shift, and he rode up northern Ontario and ended up crashing into a rock and head injury, and you know, changed his life. Issues from that, and I always took it to heart. I always remembered what he'd said, that don't want to ride tired. I'll ride long distance, I'll go, but there's some days that, hello there, there's some days that, you know, you shouldn't be on them, and that's one of the reasons why. So it's impaired just the same as if you were drunk. It's it cause issues and cause you to crash just as easy as having a few too many. So beautiful day. Temperature 57 degrees Fahrenheit. A little rough. Somebody's building something new. What are we getting? A new cottage? So I put satellite radio on the bike. It's inside this left glove box. The mount's screwed to the side, just a normal one of those add-in aftermarket satellite systems, XM. And wired it in. I hardwired it in. The cigarette lighter adapter seemed to, you'd hit a pothole or something, it would come loose, and it would affect, you know, you were trying to fish around in there with your hand while you're rolling down the road, and it was just a bad situation. So I soldered and hardwired it and installed it down and threw under the seat and dropped it in the pocket in front of the fender, right in front of the relay banks that are in there, and plugged into the auxiliary plug, which I had to order because the guy that owned the bike didn't give me the cord. So that took a few weeks of hunting to find one at a realistic price. They want like 50-60 bucks for that stupid little cord from some of these Goldwing supplier places and Honda, and so rough. She's rough. So I got that all hooked up, and that we don't even use the FM, AM, FM anymore after that. I do have a MP3 player in the back and plugged into the CD system. I think everybody's got one of those. Use it regularly. Got our favorite tunes, a couple of bands that we're friends with, play their music. You're not going to hear it unless you play it off of a MP3 chip. So having a good day, aren't they? Wife's gone for the weekend. Gone with our neighbors up to their cottage up north. I had things to do this weekend, so wasn't gonna get into that. Wanted to do a little bit of this and see how things worked. Get things set up so that we have like a standard layout. So we're getting down Low Banks area. Cottages will get a little bigger, a little fancier as we get around the corner here. It's the trouble with these shore roads, they don't look after them too much and get through a hard winter, and there's all kinds of new stuff we're finding on the first run around. So what else about the bike? Oh, we got the TomTom Rider. I think it's version 4. Good GPS, I like it. I don't like Garmin. I got Garmin in my other vehicles. Not impressed. I don't like the slowness of the Garmin. I like the winding road option. Set a destination and then it's all straight road and boring. You can hit the winding road button and it recalculates your trip and takes you through a little bit more interesting route. I've had others with me and used that feature, and at the end of the day and the end of the ride they were like, I'm coming with you again. That was the best. How did you know those roads were there? And I said, I didn't, I just followed the arrow. I've got a mount on the other bike. I guess I didn't introduce the other bike. I have a 2012 Arabian Red Kawasaki 1400 Concours. It's got about 62,000 kilometers on it. Love it. Love that bike. Just as much or more than this one. I like every once in a while to go fast. This one's fast, but the other one's faster. Got some friendly people down around here. Like they're bikers. I don't know if you can see the power cord hanging down over here. That's for my radar detector, which is in the trunk, because it's illegal in Canada, at least in most of Canada. Once we cross the border, it goes on. We got a little bit of Velcro up on the dash, plug her in, and off we go. Lots of mud on the road. Everybody's doing their yard work and they got stuff going on. Uh-oh, that's gonna hurt. Ladies. Definitely have to get gas. Also dragon wings, I put those on first time I opened the garage door after winter was over. Pretty easy to install. I will say that they're not cut properly because this one's almost 3/4 of an inch below the mirror and this one's about 1/4 inch below the mirror. They're about 1/2 inch difference in them, so I'm not really impressed with that, but for what they are and what they're doing, that they do a good job. Cut down probably 50% of the air noise from the Pelion's headset microphone, just the wind noise, and we got the Cena's set to the quietest setting that we got, and we're still affected by it, I guess you could say. There's quite a bit of air noise certain days when it's coming from the side. Seems to be doing that, so up here, farmer. Spin this one around. Back up. Oh, the honey wagon. It's the honey wagon, everybody. Oh boy. Dude, a little bit of the road, please. Not even looking. No mirror. The dragon wings, just trying to think. They don't stop the air from below, like down the, on your shins. The wind still hits there, even though you're tucked in. It seems to come up under the fairing and come up almost like it's, I think when it's raining, your pant leg will get wet under your rain suit because it's blowing up. It's pushing up, straight up, vertically. The water's coming up because of the wind coming back in there. So not really anything you can do about that other than putting full floorboards on. I'm not doing that. Still like to have my ability to get my feet down when I need. This road was pebble-stoned last year, and they're still loose. You hear it hitting the chrome front grille. I'm not too happy about that. Construction we didn't need. Anything else about the bike? Let's think, so you get to know it a little bit. We're running AMSOIL 1040, the blue cap bottle. AMSOIL filter. We're using AMSOIL Severe Gear 7590 gear oil in the rear end. That's the first time for that. I either used the Honda oil or I used Lucas Hypoid oil. So, but I think that the AMSOIL, I think it makes it quieter. I'm not going to run it too much longer, and I'm going to dump it to make sure I got a full mixture in there, get all that old stuff out. So try to change it quite regularly. It looks pretty clean when it comes out most times, so probably change it 2-3 times, 4 times a summer. I mean, you're only using a half a cup full or so every time. So we got a Goldwing. We got a gray Goldwing. That's Port Maitland ahead, so that's a dead end. There's no need in going down there. I just want to look at some dirty old work boats. So we're almost to Dunnville now. We'll catch a little bit of gas. There's a nice little Esso station there. And we'll carry on our way down the lake. So I'll cut it off for a little bit and we'll be back. Okay, so we're back. We've got yep, we're taping. So, full tank of gas. And just coming out of Dunnville, Ontario. We're still heading east. And just left the town limits now. Colborne's 32 kilometers. We'll go through low banks and everything else before that. Right along the lake. Right along the Grand River and down along the lake. Take it all the way to Niagara if we want. Now, everybody just calm the hell down. You don't know if they see you until you know they do. I got run off the road by a lady on a riding lawnmower one time. I did everything to get around her and she just kept driving at me and I was like, my God, woman. I missed her. I didn't miss the road though. Got up off the road, I asked her, I said, didn't you see me? And she says, oh, I saw you. I said, thought you'd move over. I said, did I pick the right ditch? She got mad and went in the house. Left me standing there bleeding. Bike. Harley. Tar snakes are very slippery. I don't know why, but they are this time. Probably because of all the rain we've had. We've had some real downpours that probably washed all the grit and sand right out of the tire, so it's probably just bare tire right there for a while till it gets dirtied up again. Just like a surgeon, just precision. No goofing around. Oh yeah, take a look at that. Guy's a metal sculptor out of old mechanical stuff. Pretty cool work. Harley boys. Chrome, whether I could handle that or not. turn on the Cena, see how things are working. Let's go into Bluetooth mode on the bike. Hello, Cena. FM on. FM. List commands. You'll never get that to work. There we go. Dual purpose. They're rolling. Or a giraffe. How about a moose or an elephant? Alright, taping again. So new battery, new chip in the camera, we're all set to go. We're in Dunnville, we're heading back home. We went as far as Port Colborne, Ontario. But the weather's supposed to turn on us again, so we're gonna run up from Dunnville up through Cayuga and then head her back to Jarvis. There's always a lot of bikers in here. A ton of bikers. Dunnville's kind of a poor town. They used to have a Bix pickle factory. Used to do a lot of pickles and other stuff there, but they moved out, left it abandoned for a while, and I think it's a candy factory now. But not as big an operation as it used to be. A lot of farming around, so that's what kind of supports the downtown businesses. Today's probably the first day I felt the heat of the sun on my out riding. Usually it's been cool. It's the first time. Feels good. Summer's here. Hopefully the rain will stay away for a little bit. Give us a few weeks of good riding, and it's gonna rain tonight, but I'll be home long before it starts. Looks like we got a little fair going on. I don't know what that's all about, but there's an awful lot of police around. I didn't read the colors on some of those vests. Maybe they got some of the clubhouse out in Dunnville this morning, so Sportster for sale. Take the river road. So we're on the north side of the Grand River. There it is. a golf course there. That's the beer cart girl. But I thought she was coming out on me. No. That's why we watch them. This is a nice little road. Lots of twisties. High-speed sweepers. It's no dragon though. See if we can get by this Silverado. And here's our chance. Let's go. Sunday drivers on Saturday, just gotta go around them. A lot of roadkill up here, and they must have a lot of wildlife. Here, Suzuki by the look of it. So I never mentioned the color of my bike. It's the metallic silver edition. Running Bridgestone tires, stock issue. Probably be the last time, if you know what I'm talking about. Everybody's switching over. It's a little expensive. The amount of miles that we're putting on, it's in the best interest of everybody, especially my wallet. Another bike. These camera angles are good, and I'm looking forward to seeing the video out of them and see how I did on the second setup. this view is going to be the one that's kind of iffy. Whether I'm high enough to see over and you get a good view of the road in front of us. Breaker 19 for a radio check. Check on my wheels, everything looks good. Fighting the wind. It's still a heavy wind. It's not the summer light air. It's quite a hit when it hits you. Moves the bike around a little bit, especially with the dragon wings. I see a lot more almost a wander to the, gets kind of floating since I put the dragon wings on. So looking forward to getting through this springtime air into the full summer weather and see how things go from there. We're coming up on Cayuga, Ontario. That's where I went to high school. Nice little town. A couple more big turns here. We'll be near that, so we'll see. Get a look at what it looks like. We'll cross the Grand River on the new Cayuga Bridge, just put in a year ago. Just about had partridge for lunch. Every time I see a riding lawnmower, heart just kind of skips a little beat. Once you've had one run out on the road in front of you, you're watching. Alright, one more turn and we're to the next town. Oh, hell of a wind. Ontario. I guess I should slow down and make it look at least semi-respectable. Turn off here. Up ahead's the new arena, and I got another, I think it's a community center going in. It's quite a big building. Anybody need a golf bag? One for free. downtown Cayuga, Ontario. Liquor store, brand new Subway. Swap shop. Come on, man, let's go. Grand River, some boating, railroad bridge. They built that bridge right beside this bridge. They built it over there. They tore down the old one, and then they moved it sideways back into place with the new one. Quite an operation. Kudos to the fellas in charge of doing that. So we'll cut her off for a bit, try to save some of this footage. So this is Nels Corners, Hagersville that way to the right, Selkirk and Fisherville to the left. Jarvis, 15 kilometers. Wind is hitting hard now. If you look at the windmills, it's coming right off the side, right off here. So that's hitting it. That's hitting right on the worst angle for this Goldwing I think that there is. It's just off to the side a slight bit. It seems to catch the tail of the bike and it pushes it sideways. I'd rather have a straight across hit than on an angle. It seems to surprise you more when it comes. Sunday drivers on Saturday again. Rolling her out. Fully solar house, not on the grid at all. They got a wind turbine and they got solar panels and they all by themselves. pushing. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Get that out of the way. Get my visor to latch. What's going on here? Go. Oh, it's a heavy hit. If we go slow enough, it'll turn red. Come on, let's go. Better view of it up. So gas and oil pipeline, SO. One of them's been in there since the 40s. Never a hassle. Everybody complaining about pipelines. Never an issue with them. Okay, seen it all. Alright, we're shutting this down. See how it turns out.